All right, it's too quiet. Who wants to do some trivia for a free game? All right. First person, and I'm gonna just raise your hand. First person that can tell me every single Jason character that we've confirmed for the game, I will give you a free game if you can tell me which ones. Anyone? I'm super fan, but we're hanging out with you already. Anyone? I saw his hand over here. Hold on, we're coming over here. Gentleman right here. Sorry. All right. Every single Jason we've confirmed.
Wait, Jason or a character?
Jason character. Like each Jason's version. Each Jason version.
Okay. The sec version?
What?
The
second?
Sec.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, Sackhead.
Right. Sorry, my ex. The second. Well,
no, we're done. All right. Sorry, man. All right, what do you got?
So, I think it's Jason Goes Back to Hell.
All right.
Jason Takes Manhattan. And Sack. And then Friday the 13th 3?
Come on, guys. Gentleman with the Overwatch jacket, hold up. Let's get some cardio in. After this, we're going to the panel. It is time. So you better get it or no one gets a game.
That's Jason 1, 2.
Nope. All right. Well, we tried. I think it is 10 o'clock. Is everyone ready? Ronnie, please give them the answer.
The mic. Oh, are we on? 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, and Savini. Not that hard.
I have a question. How many people in here know who Tor Johnson was?
A couple.
Okay, just breaking some balls here. Okay. Thank you.
All right, everyone. I'm Adam Sessler. I'm the least important aspect of what you're about to see for the next hour. This is Friday the 13th. It's all about making the kill, which I think it clearly shows that you're probably the most demented people that are attending PAX, and I love you all for it. We're going to introduce this wonderful panel, but let's just first point out the incredible Tom Savini, who is joining us here. Originally, probably even like 3 hours ago, we were thinking we were going to hold the best for last, and Tom just kind of said, "No, fuck it, don't do that." So before we do anything else, this is what we're going to be discussing for the next hour. Please enjoy.
This is only 13 of them.
Oh, hang on. Hey, wait. Pause it. I think we're supposed to give you a warning if you're sensitive to material and you don't want to see.
Yeah, these people.
And viewers, actually viewers at home. If you have kids.
Yeah, viewers at home. If you have kids, really.
Or you don't want to see.
Send them away. Avert your eyes.
No, we have to say this actually. This is real. If you are uncomfortable with young adults getting manhandled, you can leave then come back because it's not going to be pretty at all.
And then why are you here? You know.
you may have stumbled upon it at home. Yes. You never know.
Is there any way to bring down the lights? Is that an option?
We have like a migraine already.
Can we? Here. Is it going to play?
Ready? Yeah, we're good.
They're going to start screaming.
You can feel the tension building up inside by the cover of darkness as the campfire dies. He's moving through the shadows. He can smell your fear. You won't know he's coming till he's there. He's Friday night, the sound of chains, the gleam of the blade. Run for your life. It's Shadow Night. Time to die. He's in your mind. He's creeping up behind. There's nowhere to hide. On a Friday night.
All right, that was a good call, Tom. That was a very good call.
Yes, thank you.
You guys enjoyed that? Yeah.
Now we
get a
can
better-
chat.
We're about to get a better sense of all of the amazing creativity and thought and inspiration and transcendence that goes into making 13 kills and many, many more that can be available on Friday the 13th, the game. Like I said before, I'm Adam Sessler. I would love to have everyone on the panel from both IllFonic and Gun Media introduce themselves and what you guys work on the game.
All right, my name's Randy Greenback, and I'm the executive director with Gun Media on this game.
My turn? Okay. Ronnie Hobbs, co-creator.
Tom Savini, I'm just interested in what's going on.
Hit your button.
Oh, red light, green light has to be on. Yeah. Here, use mine.
Yeah.
Inspector Clouseau at your service.
CEO of IllFonic, Chuck Brungardt.
Wires. Things are supposed to be wireless now, aren't they?
I don't have a mic. Do I have a mic now? Oh, it
We're
works.
gonna be electrocuted up here.
I'm Wes Keltner, also co-creator of Friday 13th, and I grow mustaches. That's about it.
He does.
And a nice mustache it is.
Thank you, sir.
But before you go into how we do these kills, Ronnie, I'm going to start with you, and Tom, I definitely want you to opine on this. I don't think we're bad people for finding that really, really entertaining, but what is it? Is you, me, and many of us on this panel, who are just such lovers of these types of horror movies, and obviously that gratuitous, those gratuitous moments that happen in it. What is it that makes it so satisfying, for lack of a better word?
We've never seen this before in a video game. So it's not shocking in cinema. It's only shocking because we haven't brought it to video games yet. Like, maybe Manhunt, maybe, but those are criminals that you're killing. Like, you don't really get your hands on young adults at a camp and do those type of things. So really, that's the most shocking part, is being able to do that with a controller. So.
Well, Tom, I mean, you help facilitate this type of imagery onto the screen. Did you see it as shocking when you first started to play around with these types of makeup effects and these types of kills in Friday the 13th and other movies?
No, it wasn't. We were just doing our job as good as we could do it, The script says something has to happen. We have to create it so that you believe that what you're seeing is really happening. And in many cases, like if I was going to kill you, okay?
Okay.
If I was going to kill you...
Please tell me, I'm getting so titillated right now.
Physically, it's quite a job. I mean, we'd have to cast your body. We'd have to make some facsimile of you with eyeballs and teeth, and it has to look real, 40 feet high and 60 feet wide, So it's a lot of hard work and a lot of physical work, As far as the video game goes, all I had to do was say it. And there it is. It's a lot less work. There's no blood on my hands. We go home every day with blood all over us. You guys went home with blood all over your minds when you did this. Hey, let's not forget, Jason is a psychopath, okay? All right, thanks.
Right. So Ronnie, Wes, I mean, I think there was just no question. Obviously, Tom worked on the first Friday the 13th, worked on the fourth Friday the 13th. You know, he's so legacied in this type of art. Was there even a question in your mind whether to bring on someone with his talents to work on the game?
I mean, absolutely zero question. I mean, I knew when Ronnie and I sat down and just started to lay this plan out and started to work on the design of it, like, I already had my hit list of, like, I really want to work with these people. There's no one else that I would trust to work on this with it. Just when we were Slasher Volume 1 summer camp, like, there was no Friday the 13th yet. We were just this small, little, tiny indie project. And I knew that, okay, I knew I wanted Tom, I knew I wanted Kane, and then the more I was researching sound that I was looking for, I knew that Harry Manfredini was a fit as well. So I literally had a dry erase board behind my desk with these names written on them, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll start with a king first.
Yeah.
So
the tough part was just how do you get him to work for you when you have not a lot of money and no one knows your name, and you're pitching him something that probably gets pitched to him every single day of his life. So
Well,
there was a lot of sexual favors.
yep.
I was not the beneficiary of any of it. But at breakfast today, when I first saw this, it brought me back to the 80s when I am once again now the king of splatter. You know, I was the wizard of gore.
Yeah.
You know, got away from that for a while, and just watching that made me feel, wow, I've done it again. You know, this is I'm the king of splatter again. You know, so. And speaking of hit lists, here's all the kills right here.
Hey, no, put that
Don't
away.
leave that
Put that
laying
away.
No, I'll be jumped later for all this, but you can see how many pages are in here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of kills in this thing.
And that was actually our big challenge, and we'll go into that now.
Yeah, I was about to say. I mean, Tom, you do not lack for imagination in terms of how to extinguish a life in a visual manner.
I don't know where that comes from. You know, I raise roses. I have grandchildren. It just comes. Well, it came naturally back then. In the heyday of the splatter films, and it just came naturally this time when you said, what you said is something that George Romero would always say before a movie, start thinking of ways to kill people, you know? Yeah. That's my job.
Now, would you say that getting to work in a digital medium, even though you're very dedicated to respecting the practical reality of the effects, did you think that you had more sort of imaginative freedom? Like, were there things that you never were able to do because it just wouldn't work out that you can pull off in the game?
No, maybe only on the movie Maniac. I had to keep saying to Joe Spinell, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to cut that off a woman, okay? I mean, because he was, the movie would have been, but something that you were saying made me think of something. What was your question?
Well, no, that getting to work on a game is all digital, even though you're trying to really sort of respect practical effects. I mean,
no, I know what I was going to say.
Sky's the limit, really.
Yeah, in the movie, you only see what we and the editors decide to show you, or what the MPAA says you're allowed to show you. You know, if you've just seen this video. I mean, this is not somebody going in for a close-up of a fight, or, I mean, you're seeing the whole thing. So in essence, you're doing it, you know, you're going to become a psychopath for how long it takes you to play the game. Is that fun? Yeah.
And Wes and Randy can further talk about this, but when we said, hey, we're making a slasher game, hire Tom Savini is the number one thing we need to do.
Yep.
So once we did that, it was, how do we take his mind and his creativity and let him go wild, but also harness that and put restrictions on it from a gameplay perspective. So how do we take all his ideas and all his kills and make it so that you can pick up the controller and actually do those things? So if Tom wants a toilet on set, he can just bring it, or if he wants a mattress or a bed frame in a movie, he can bring it, but in the game we have to make it. But then we have to let you control Jason in that little area and perform the kill without legs flying through doorways and characters clipping, and so it's a very, very tough system to do.
There's also just the consideration of, like, what are the odds of that event taking place? Like, you know, I was talking to just Tom over breakfast this morning about it, where when he sits down to do, you know, if Romero asks him, hey, come up with some kills for how people are going to die in the next film or whatever, that's a linear, you know, experience when you're watching a film. So when he sits down to think of a kill, if he thinks of one that's really awesome, it's in a controlled space. Everyone that watches the movie is going to experience it. They're going to see it, right? But in a game, that's set in a more open world thing where there's 7 counselors, 1 Jason. What are the odds that this counselor is going to be at this moment at this time, and Jason's going to be here at this moment and this time to then trigger that specific kill? Does that make sense? So
yeah, you said something interesting this morning. I was looking at the list and talking about the lifeguard chair.
Right.
And you said, yeah, what are the odds that the counselor will be near that at the same time Jason?
So one example that had to get cut was so Tom wanted that Jason would knock someone down next to a lifeguard stand. So like those big, large, very tall lifeguard stands that you would see.
Well, he would swing them by the ankles and break the lifeguard chair.
Sure. But a very heavy.
There's poles. There's stakes sticking up from it. Okay.
Right. So, but then so he slams them down on that. But then he could pick up the lifeguard stand, which was very, very heavy, and then smash that down, like crushing the head, pushing them down further onto the wooden stakes that are stuck up. So anyway, it was really cool, and we were like, "God, it's awesome!" But we didn't want to put lifeguard stands every 20 feet. It wouldn't make sense, right?
Yeah. So there's not one blocking the front door to a cabin.
Right.
It's only at the lake, and there's only one, or it looks weird and it's out of place.
Right. So there's some of that we take some of the ideas too that he sends, and we're like, this one's really cool, and I think we can apply this actually in a different way. It doesn't have to be tied to that one asset. We may be able to find something more creative that kind of works in a more open world. So that was one issue that I know when Ronnie and I and Randy and everyone, we all sat down and looked at the full sort of list that we were like,
how do we do this?
God, but I want that. That's so awesome. Like that one's so cool.
But yeah, that's the other part of it is we also have to think about time and money, right? So there were a ton of kills. Like Tom's not called the volcano of the mind for nothing, right? They're just erupting out of his head, and we can't do them all, but we want desperately to do every single one of them. But time and money dictate how many we can do. So what ones we had to cull off the list for tech reasons and whatnot, we also had to eliminate some and save them for potentially later.
So that was step 1 in how to create a kill.
Right.
Hire Tom Savini, let him go crazy, try to
Let him-
hope to
let him
God we
go
can put those
crazy?
kills into an environment for you to actually enjoy.
But then you have to make those kills actually happen, and that required another also exceptionally talented person.
Yeah, so after Wes convinced Tom, he just calls Kane Hodder and convinces him as well. I still don't know how it happened. So then we had Kane Hodder. So
Favors.
get
And
Tom
I just
on
want to
board.
check to make sure everything on. Do you understand who Kane Hodder is? Okay, good. If you didn't know, you didn't say, I don't know. He's Jason. He's Jason of the later films. He's the one who's probably most present in all of our imaginations.
So we convinced him to join our team and do all of Tom's kills.
Well, that was
in a
him.
mocap
That was
studio.
him. That was him.
Yeah.
Roto captured in the video.
Exactly. So we had to get him in the mocap studio. We had to hire stunt actors who could take a beating from Kane. So once we had Tom in place and all his kills, and gameplay-wise, we actually fit that into something that could be usable. We then got Kane Hodder and all the stunt people, and
But to Tom's point, which I think is really interesting, and this is something that would shock you. If you probably will go back and watch some of the old Friday the 13th movies. A lot of the kills you think you saw in the movie, you saw much less of them because there is a lot of editing that happens around it. Yeah. But in these mocap sessions and what's going to happen inside of the game, you're having to not just show all of it, but you're having to direct it as one fluid action. And I think that must present some unique challenges. And I didn't know if that's how you ever designed them for the films.
You have to. When I'm talking about an effect, I will, because most directors don't understand the magic involved. And especially like in the first Friday the 13th film, my idea in all the films was if somebody's getting killed by a weapon, establish the weapon as sharp or hard. It crushes through a wall, like an axe crushes a wall before the rubber axe hits the person, but you still think it's the heavy axe, so you give some weight to the actual weapon. And most directors don't you have to explain sometimes. It turned out in my later contracts that I would get to direct the scenes that the effects were in.
kill scenes.
Because they're magic tricks. My books are called Grand Illusions because I think of these things as magic tricks. You need a shot of this before this shot will work. And that's what you were saying. The editor puts those shots together and it adds up to the kill or the effect or something, okay? You're seeing the whole thing.
Yeah.
Which is what pisses me off in movies a lot is if there's a fight scene, they shoot it in close-up. You know, the real actor's doing a couple of moves and the stunt guys are taking over in long shots. And there's hardly ever any long shots showing the real people doing it. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's, Tyrone Power's Zorro, where they were really, or Errol Flynn. Yeah. He was a real fencer, so they could pull the camera back and you would really see them doing it. And that's the best, when you see the real people doing it. And that's what's happening in here. You're seeing the whole bit. You're not being cheated by the movie maker's handicap of having to not hurt an actor and put a stuntman in there, There's no stunt people in this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even though we had a lot of that, like the stunt people and a lot of the actions that played out in the mocap session, we did kind of notice some of those tricks that, stuntmen would do or whatever, where we get it back in mocap and it's like, oh, this is interesting. Like maybe there isn't enough weight to this because they don't want to hurt, someone.
Yeah.
So a lot of that.
And that's what I hate too. I mean, so many times in fight scenes, the stunt guys will position the actors in such a way, like the camera's behind me and I'm punching you. My hand is a foot away from you, but because the camera's here, they don't know. Okay, so. In my flicks, even the Night of the Living Dead, when a zombie was, for example, getting hit with a crowbar, we put powder on the real actor and really whacked him with a rubber crowbar, and powder flew off, so he got whacked. I love to see fists hitting faces and axes hitting heads, seeing the real thing happen and not cheating it and adding a sound effect later. That's not what you're going to get here. You're going to get the real... There's contact being made, obviously, in this thing.
Before we show you like the mocap stuff, if you hadn't seen some of the mocap, we'll just give you an idea of what it was. But you have to consider that we can't cheat the camera here. We can't just show you a certain amount because if someone's murdering you right beside me, there could be 7 other counselors or 6 other counselors standing next to them watching that scene unfold. So we can't cheat that system. Right. You could be watching your friend get murdered 10 feet away. So if legs are flying through couches or the kill doesn't fit in that area, you're going to know it.
Right.
So that's what...
Yes, you have to plan for a camera being at any various position.
Yeah, we can show the player who's getting murdered a special camera, but what if you're standing next to them?
Right.
We can't cheat that.
And that's, that's something that no one had to consider for the movies.
Yeah, but in films, you can cheat whatever you want because there's no third person looking on. Right?
And obviously matters of timing, I think, have to be there as well because you can't start just dropping frames to get to a different perspective to add a sense of maybe
all it's got to happen real time.
Well, I have a question. If you choose to be Jason in the game, then is it Jason's point of view approaching a person, the counselor? Because in the video, you're seeing Jason subjectively do that.
Yeah, you're always seeing the bodies.
Is there a point that, if you're Jason, that you come out and watch? Because one thing that you didn't see was when Jason drives the pitchfork through the back of the person's head and the tongs come out, in the finished game, there'll be eyeballs on the forks.
Yeah. We were going to save that, Tom, thanks.
Oh,
it's but if anybody can spoil it, we can let Tom do that.
No, but we just... Is this a topic we can discuss? I meant this is the safety.
What topic is it?
Well, the whole eyeball thing. No, because we discussed today at breakfast. You weren't there. That when the eyeballs come out, it's going to look like a Max Fleischer cartoon unless the camera moves around.
He's totally lying. Don't believe it.
Unless the camera moves around.
None of that's going to happen.
Okay.
None of it.
All right.
So for those that didn't see mocap, we had to hire Kane Hodder and we had to get people in the studio and let him punish them. Let Kane Hodder do Tom's kills. So,
here we go.
He's very method in how he approaches these kills as well.
Yeah. So as you can see, this is really early work. This is the first step in taking the animations that Kane is doing to these stunt people, and then seeing the first footage into like a prototype build before anything's cleaned up.
Yeah, these shots here are the equivalent of like a on-set daily. So we see these as they happen.
And of
Did
course,
you play this music when you did the mocap?
no, but Kane liked to wear his mask.
Actually, no, we did.
Oh, okay.
We did. We
Yeah.
cued this in the mocap room.
Yeah.
This
Really?
was playing when Kane was doing all this kind of music, all hairy stuff. Yeah.
So, and as you saw in the final version, he's actually hitting the counselor, but obviously we didn't want Kane to kill stunt people, so a lot of the times you can tell he's not even making contact, so that's our other big hurdle with Chuck and the guys at IllFonic is take this data, make it hit the characters, and then we have to apply blood and things like that once they're cleaned up, but
So the white-haired guy that's sitting down, crouched down on the ground there, that's Rick McCallum, who's a somewhat famous stunt guy as well. But if you saw Hatchet, so that was Kane's body double. So a lot of the running scenes and getting knocked down and things like that, that was Rick actually, who was there during the motion capture.
so this is funny here. This is one of our little test environments that we throw things in before we do anything serious, just for fun. We walk around and
This is an early contextual kill system right here.
yeah, this lets us experiment with things. And
It's like mean Katamari Damacy.
exactly. Yeah. So this is
pretty
also
brutal.
a very, very difficult thing to do because, like you said, that's a flat surface wall that we have to use, and they can be everywhere. But we have to have enough of them so that if you pick up a counselor, you can have some place to execute them at. So that's part of the big issue as well.
That dummy did not last a week, by the way. Every morning when we come in, the prop people would be duct taping it back together because Kane just beat the shit out of it.
And Tom nicknamed him Freddy.
See, what's funny?
They did name him Freddy.
What's cool is the stuntman has to react to potentially faking getting hit here. He's not even, there's no contact, but
Right.
you know, so it's a very involved process that just putting in one kill in our game.
You know, another interesting thing is that in the course of playing one of these matches, let's say it's around 20 minutes, even if you're playing a counselor, you in many ways are going to see more of Jason than you would if you bundled up all of Jason in any one of the movies. He usually shows up at the right moment and leaves. So you had to give a lot more thought to also how he moves. You're sort of Jason in a less than fully Jason moment.
Tone him down
how
a
he's
bit.
still consistent.
Yeah. And of course, here's the final version of that kill. So what you had was taking Tom's genius idea for these kills, and then hiring Kane Hodder, of course, and then hiring stunt actors, and then getting Chuck and his guys and all the animators to the mocap studio, and then recording that footage, and then getting into the prototype engine there, and then putting the blood effects on, then getting this dismemberment. How long have you been working on dismemberment?
Yeah, probably good few months or whatever, a couple
Yeah,
months.
just to get
getting all
those
the
two
faces
arms
and-
flying off on that one kill.
You're the dismemberment expert?
It's a labor of love.
a labor
Not
of
me,
love.
we have a good tech team. so-
Can we talk about the blood for a second? Because that is such an important role.
Yeah. Okay.
But
The blood too. Like with dismemberment comes blood, and we need the blood to look as realistic as possible within a video game world. And there are very few games that even come close to representing real blood. So Chuck and his team have been really busting their butt just trying to get blood.
There needs to be more
There was
blood.
a lot of, definitely,
Need more blood, yeah.
there was a lot of back and forth, because I think in a lot of games, you know, you always see like giant sprays and it's way over the top, and we were going more for realistic, like how does it fall with physics, and
Which is what Tom was great at, by the way, in the original films. You know, blood would pull out, it slowly
Well, it
move,
was
you
really
know.
happening.
Exactly.
There's no
you were
CGI.
pumping it with a, you know. Yeah.
What you saw was really happening right in front of you, right in front of the camera, yeah, as opposed to today.
So once we did that, we forgot to mention that, we need Jason models. So what you saw was almost a finished model, but what you don't know is each one of these Jason models that we have in our game, so that's 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, and Savini's custom Jason, which you can't ask about tonight because it's a secret still.
Don't you like surprises? Come on.
Each one of those models roughly takes us, over a month.
Oh, at
Well
at
over a
minimum,
month.
yeah.
Plus the prep time that it takes for us to give it to the art team. So we have to go back and collect reference photos from the films, which don't exist, by the way.
Especially part 6.
Yeah, part 6, there are probably 4 or 5 photos from behind the scenes total in the world.
Really?
Yeah,
They just don't exist.
if you find a well-lit, full-body part 6, front and back,
We'll buy it from you.
Yeah, send it.
I'll personally send you 10 copies of the game signed by me, because it
Yeah.
doesn't exist.
The actors don't have it, the directors
You
don't
can't
have
find it.
Yeah. So we had to go to great lengths, because as you know, each Jason mask is different. Some are dinner plate shaped, some are egg shaped. They all have their own unique features. So it takes us
Even
well-
within the individual film, like if you, just to use 6 again, for example, like, first of all, they used, of course, the hardcore fans know, they used 2 actors in that. They had a fat Jason at the beginning that they
Yeah.
fired, and then
Yeah.
hired another guy to come in, right?
Yeah.
Well, even the mask, like if you go back and watch those, like the
It's a
mask
little
change,
different.
but
Always
all of the films, like from start to finish, during the shoot, the actor is always taking the mask off and on, right, in between shots. Well, their hands
Or
are
getting it knocked off or
Yeah, and
something.
it
yeah,
gets
their hands are
damaged,
dirty.
worn
So
out.
like if you go watch a lot of them, like they usually pick it up by the nose, like the actor does, to put it back on. So like as the film progresses, if you go back and watch them, like you'll notice like this part of the nose gets darker and
Yeah.
darker throughout the film. So if we're tasked with making a part,
3 masks,
6 or
whatever.
3, whatever, right? Well, how much effect are we doing?
Yeah.
Like how dirty and dingy is the mask? Like are we talking real 6 or are we talking real 2? Because there's a significant difference
Yeah.
in look. So yeah,
Each model takes a long time.
we're
It's
not
the world's
we're not
story.
phoning it in by any means.
So this is J3, part 3, Jason early on. This is before his mask was perfected. So, just about a month of work just to get the model to this space and make him look big and buff like Richard Brooker did in part 3. They had a back prosthetic and a neck prosthetic on him, which made him that Frankenstein, big bodied look.
Yeah, and then there's feedback that has to be given. So like when the artist delivers the actual under mask, like what Jason looks like under the mask, we have to go in and kind of compare shots and figure out exactly what's off and what's on. And it's before it's textured, so sometimes it's hard to discern exactly what feedback is relevant at this point.
Yeah, so there's his under mask and the multiple steps. This is only one. I mean, we went back and forth probably 55,000 times with the
There's
art
so
team.
many iterations
just
that happen
nonstop. Just
yeah,
to
you
try
have
to get them.
you have the model itself, and then you have the mask, and those take on sort of like 2 different paths in terms of like iteration and iteration time, and it's usually the mask that takes the longest. They can usually nail the face in maybe like the 4th iteration. They got it. The mask, it's about a dozen usually before it's right, because like the holes have to be right, the chevrons have to be right, like
All the little marks, the shapes.
it's got to be perfect.
So.
And then over time, the textures get applied, and next thing you know, the shirt's not long enough. It's not quite sitting on him right. You can start to see that his trap muscles are not large enough. And so every single step of the way, there's new feedback, there's new things that we need to catch before the fans call us out on it. Like, before all of you call us out on it, because we don't want to look like fools, right?
Yeah.
We got to do our job and ensure that we're paying homage to the property.
Or you could just put him in a purple jumpsuit.
And we could. Purple and green.
Purple and green.
So once we got Jason modeled, that was 1. Then we had 6 more to go.
Right.
So as you can tell, the reason we do a lot of these things, and we'll show you something else cool in a minute, is how many times have you played a game where you just see the bad guy just kind of do this, and then the enemy falls over and he's dead? Like a lot of games that take the easy route and just have a weapon just hit someone and nothing else happens. You can see how much work goes into just one of our kills. And then when we have 30 or 40 or whatever the number is that we're going to have, you can see how long it takes to create these things.
Well, there was a big reaction from the crowd when he sticks the marshmallow thing down the guy's
that's
throat.
one of our favorite kills.
And then the guy falls back and he's
he's
actually
he's
trying
choking
to
on
get
it.
it out. I mean, that's...
Like that level of detail is not common in our industry, but we're such nerds and such fans of the franchises. We couldn't just let Jason do this and the guy fall over, the girl fall over. Like that would be the cheap way out in a slasher game or something, so.
And animation-driven games are very hard to make, very complicated because, it may not be as much tech as, you know, huge,
Like
giant,
Uncharted,
like,
for
yeah,
example.
like, you know, but there's a ton of animation that goes in there. There's a lot of code and everything that has to line up to play the animation right and transition right and, you know, really get the weight and the feel right. There's just so much under the hood that goes into that. And that's, you know, when we signed up to do this project, we knew that would be the biggest challenge. We're like, oh, wow, like the animation bar is here, you know, it's like way high and we really need to hit it. So it's been, it's definitely been the biggest challenge of making this game is just getting that fidelity right and then really getting it all working over the network properly and making sure that, you know, I don't know, like the character doesn't ball up sideways and walk all weird or something like that. Like it's, you know, a lot of challenges there.
So we have a cool little thing too. This is kind of like our Jason assembly line. Yeah. We put Jasons to work every day, just doing new kills.
Eventually, the Jason AI perfects the kills over time, but it takes many iterations of killing to be able to do it.
And of course, this isn't the game. So people online are like, "This looks like shit." Like this is not the game.
This is a
our
test world.
This is our little prototype area.
Early
okay?
test world.
Yeah, this is where Jason.
Not the game.
9 to 5, Jason's in here killing people. And there's some
rock
kills you
montage.
haven't seen in here. So yeah, we like to I just boot this up sometimes and fall asleep to it at night. I just lay in bed and just have it on my TV.
I can kind of see this being like a
Fucking
used car
awesome.
dealership. And over here we have the head smash at the wall. Does that interest you? Maybe not.
And we're kind of like, we're like, that one's not quite good, or
But sometimes you're out with the kids and
toilet
you just want to see a good drowning. Just a good drowning.
And
Head in the water, you can't breathe.
Jason with the pitchfork is obviously too tired because his animation's broken. Watch him when he's done here.
He's testing chairs back there.
He's gonna kick her in the head. Anyway, he kicked her and she's been ragdoll and flying.
The funny thing is, we're in a high-rise building. That's where we're at IllFonic developing the game. So there's a lot of this talk that goes on when we're riding the elevator with people that have no idea what we're doing. So we're like, yeah, the pitchfork needs to go a little bit farther. The eyeball needs to come out. We want it to hang in the blood like this. And we turn around and there's just people in the corner.
We slit her
like,
throat, but the
freaked
blood
out.
wasn't right. I think it was too messy. Right? Yeah, there's a lot of that talk. So that's our cool little assembly line. We you know, it's the Jason factory.
Henry Ford
Murder
would
Alley.
be proud.
Yeah.
It's Murder Alley.
So we have Jason working for you. We promise. He's busting his ass every day to trying to
No,
get more kills.
these guys are really, really working hard to make sure that this thing honors the integrity of the franchise.
Before we do a Q&A, anybody want to see that video again? One more time. Let's do the video one more time. Then we'll let you all ask all the questions you want to Mr. Tom Savini. I've seen it 45 times probably. It's still
Never
good.
gets old.
It's still relevant.
It's a Swedish hair metal band called Crazy Licks.
Look them up. Follow them on Twitter and Facebook.
They're freaking awesome. I love them.
Crazy Lick.
There's a master saying, and he's out for you. When you hear it coming, what you gonna do? It's triple line. Friday night. The sound of jazz, the heroes of the run for your life. It's triple line.
This happened to me like 3 times the last time I was playing with them. I'm just standing by a fireplace.
Yeah, make him writhe for a while.
And you can see the blood decals on the characters. That's all a lot of work too. So good.
Feel the tension building up inside. By the cover of dark,
There's zero give on that.
campfire dies. He's moving through the shadows.
There's one of our Kickstarter backers, Kenny Rydell. That was a $10,000 buy-in to get murdered in our game, by the way.
I love that the pole supports her body weight right here. She's just like,
Of course, it's the preppy guy.
Q&A? Anything you want to say?
All right.
All right, we ready for Q&A, guys? All right, cool. So before we get the Q&A started, a couple of things. Fall 2016, don't ask release date. I'm serious. If you guys are on our Facebook page, every day. So fall 2016 is our release date. Next thing, I'm watching you, Robert. We're watching you. Yeah. And the last thing, Wes, your mustache, no one can shut up about it. Tom, you don't age. And for the 2,000 people watching on Twitch right now, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. Seriously ridiculous. Everyone here that showed up, you guys are awesome. Like, I can't tell you how awesome it is to just walk in here, and it's awesome. So remember, if you want a beta key, as I said, I want to see on your Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram tagging our page to your friends. What we'll do after the panel, we're going to line you guys up at the end, nice orderly fashion. What I'm going to do is take your email. You're going to actually write it on an iPad because we got Kickstarter money, not, EA money. So
True.
It's going to take a little bit of time, but we will get each and every one of you that wants to get a beta invite. So without further ado, first hand, what? All right, Superfan.
I need to ask you a question. So my favorite scene is when Jason went to the counseling room and look at the different people's counselors. Like, I want to know, you're going to bring out the twins from the old movies. The twins, the two twins on the bike.
Oh, yeah. Our flirty girl
She was kind of
is
inspired
based
by that.
on those twins. So we don't have those exact counselors, but she is based on them. You can
Yeah,
tell
the-
that in her clothing.
The way the license sort of works is it's kind of a gray area about like the actual characters
likeness,
in the
right.
films. Like we can't get the likeness because that's a real person, and then we would have to pay that person to be in the game.
So Kevin Bacon.
We
is
can't
not-
afford Kevin Bacon, obviously.
Right.
So,
Right.
All right, next question.
So we've seen a lot of awesome deaths from Jason, but how do you kill Jason?
Well, if you're Tom, you take Tommy Jarvis and let him hack him up with a machete.
True.
That happened, yeah.
Or if you're Tommy Jarvis, you bury him in the lake or chain him. But in our game, specifically, you can do it. We're not going to tell you how.
Yeah.
You have to
You
reach
have to
a certain
figure it
level.
out.
It's way better if you discover
We
that,
will
right?
never, ever tell you.
Right.
Just like Dark Souls. No one knows anything. You just figure it out yourself. Right?
Yep.
All right, next.
Just curious, your decision to go to a multiplayer game, because it seems like most people would actually go to a linear story-driven game when they get this license.
Sure. Well, before we got the license, we were a multiplayer-focused game anyway. That's what Slasher Volume 1 Summer Camp was. And the reason why it was that was Ronnie and I had always had like discussions long before this of just, man, wouldn't it be cool to like be in a quote-unquote horror movie type of setting? But I wanted that experience with other people, because if it's just me by myself, like that's it still can be scary when it's just kind of you in your room, turn off the lights, but I'd had that experience several times, early Resident Evil, Silent Hill, etc. Like I've had those like, ooh, that's scary. Instead, I wanted an experience of, I wanted to see what happens if someone shows up and there's a group of people, who's going to be the dumbass first? Like who's going to do something stupid? Because you think you're like, oh no, I got this, I got it, right? But then the shit hits the fan and you're like, fuck it, and you like peace out, right? And so I wanted those moments, because that was more sort of water cooler moment that was fun for me to see like, how do you really react? Like when the light switch goes on, the cockroaches run, right? Like I wanted that experience. I wanted to see it firsthand. Am I going to stand there and try to face off against this person, or am I going to throw my friend under the bus, so to speak? Am I, so on and so forth. So that was why we wanted to focus on it being a multiplayer game, because of those experiences to me I hadn't quite seen done yet. I'd seen a lot of linear storytelling horror things, and they're fun, and I was like, well, I can't do better than Silent Hill. Like, it's fucking great, right? So instead, let's just try to do something that maybe others haven't tried yet.
Or let's split up so he can kill us easier. You know?
Yeah. Keep in mind, like, the multiplayer, just real quick, the multiplayer, shut up, Ben. I saw you.
I'm trying to help the fans here.
I saw this there. The multiplayer experience is what got us the license. Sean and them saw our game and saw that it was multiplayer and that it could essentially play out like a film. They'd been wanting to make a Friday the 13th game for a long time too, but all they were ever pitched were single-player games. So instead of Jason going from one level to the next, just killing teenagers, now you get to do it with your friends. So
well,
that's why.
and I think the other thing about it being multiplayer is, you know, I watch tons of horror movies, I play tons of horror games, and some are great to watch by yourself. John Carpenter's The Thing, great horror movie to see by yourself. The slasher genre, that was built on the idea of kind of having a communal experience with your friends in a movie theater, giggling, holding on to each other. I mean, I remember when I saw Halloween for the first time, I was at I think I was turning 12, it was my birthday party, it was a slumber party. Having seen that movie all by myself, it probably would have scared me, it probably would have traumatized me, but I don't think it would have ever turned me into the fan of slasher films. There had to be that kind of giddiness and a shared communal experience for it really to work. And I think that's why this has to be like a predominantly a multiplayer game.
Onwards, all right.
I was just curious if there was going to be other stages other than the lake.
Well, we've announced.
Yeah. I mean, we have two levels that we've announced: Camp Crystal Lake and Higgins Haven. But
We have
the
a third
one
coming.
we're not ready to talk about yet, but we will.
Yep. Yeah, if you didn't know, like, Crystal Lake is a huge, huge area. So Jason just doesn't, all the movies don't take place at Crystal Lake. It goes around it. There's Higgins Haven, there's Packanack Lodge, there's Crystal Lake. Those are all different places. The Jarvis House, it's different. The halfway house from Part 5. Yeah. So it's a very, very big area that spans miles and miles. But it's all centered around a lake, but there are a lot of cool opportunities. And of course, you can always go to Manhattan and do those things with a cruise ship or space. So. Yeah.
All right.
And they're all procedurally generated aspects are too, so each time you play it, it'll change. So.
Next. All right, cool.
Hi, I just want to say I'm really happy to see it go the multiplayer version, because I don't think you could do a Jason game like this properly unless you had the option to do the smart thing and split up to cover more ground. I really, that needed to be there.
Yeah.
But my question is, do you guys have thoughts of continuing on with the storylines and taking us to space, or do you have the license and freedom to go in directions that the movies haven't?
I mean, yeah, there are some caveats to how we can kind of work with the license. There's some things we want to maybe play around with in the future. I don't like talking about DLC when we're still trying to like build what we're building. Like that kind of feels weird, you know. But there is stuff, we have our own like internal wish list of things that we want to do that we think would be pretty cool. So yeah, when we get a little further down the road, I think fans will be pretty. We've done our damnedest to everything we're doing and everything we're showing it's for the fans. Like the fans built Friday 13th. Period. Like that's what it. So why would that be any different for the game? Right? It's the same. So yeah, stuff we're going to do in the future. I think fans are going to love it.
I'm just going to add real quick, just a little anecdote so you guys know. Ronnie here, I was sitting next to Kane in Cincinnati at a horror convention, and I'm asking Kane, tell me something that there's no way anyone could know what you did. You have to know this. And he, told me a story. And I call up Ronnie, I'm like, hey, I got a question, blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to phrase it like it was legitimate, but I know the answer. And Ronnie freaking knows it. Like,
Ben was trying to test me.
I was
trying to test my knowledge. So he thought he had something, but he failed once again.
I failed a lot, but
we share an office almost, so it's just all day long.
It's really bad. You guys, a lot of HR issues. But here you go.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what was it?
He wanted to know
was
what
actually
Kane's first on-screen kill was.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the flashback scene in Part 7.
Yep.
Okay. It's pretty
So
simple.
if you guys are wondering what kind of fandom is going on at our office, that's everyone.
I thought it was the dildo in Jason's Take Manhattan.
No, it was the big dildo.
Ben's got that on his wall in the office.
Yeah, no, it's great. But Got questions, all right.
So I had a question about the animations. They're great. They look fantastic. But can you break in the middle of the animation to, like, if someone comes to try to beat you up, can you just be like, no, I'm going to go for him? Or can your survivor save you? Can you push him off? Can you do any of that? Or is it just you're locked into that cutscene and good luck?
Go for it, Chuck.
Yeah, no, I mean, once the kill happens, you're pretty much in that, but there is, I mean, you still have to, like, fend for yourself after it. So if you're a counselor and you decide, like, oh, I'm going to go after Jason, I mean, obviously, like, when the cutscene's done after, I don't know, several seconds, like, you're pretty much dead, so
yeah,
good luck.
But
I
there's,
mean,
there's also, it's not every time Jason meets a counselor does it trigger like some of these kills that you see.
Yeah.
If you want to just roll up with your machete in your hand or your axe in your hand and just start hacking, you can do that. And there's no cutscene, it just happens. If you want to, it happens, right? But the things you were seeing are a little more contextual. And sort of, you have to have A and B and C sort of together to make that event sort of happen, right?
It's also, what you're seeing is what has happened after a point of no return.
Right.
And there are moments before that
Sure.
where you could run, where the counselor has a fair amount of agency to avoid getting killed. But what you've seen there is, it's at the glory moment, sit back, relax, you're dead.
A lot of these start with Jason, grabbing the counselor in some way. Not all of them, but some of the ones you saw there start with a grab. So there's a system there to get yourself out of that situation, right? So we give the player playing as the counselor a lot of different features to try to evade first of all, but then once Jason closes in, you may have like one last shot to try to break away.
Yeah, we showed in the E3 video, you can break free when Jason grabs you. And you have so it's up to Jason how quickly he wants to kill you. So he may be carrying you around to a context-sensitive kill, or he can just right then and there do a weapon kill on you. So I can save Wes before he initiates the kill if I run up and hit Jason with my weapon.
and everyone usually scatters by that point anyway.
Yeah, it's like, do I save my friend or just run?
I'm just going to say, Adam said relax, but none of that sounded relaxing. So, next question.
So, less a question about art and more about mechanics, do we know what the lobby system looks like? Obviously, there's going to be some sort of public queue, but if there's 7 specific friends that I want to kill, can I invite them in?
Yeah, we will have a way to start a private match, lock the slots, and invite your friends.
Yep.
So if you want to just kill your friends, you can.
Yeah, like party system, being able to play with your friends or, against your one friend or whatever, like all that's
we're trying,
really important to
right?
us for sure. So
yeah.
Yep.
And then the next guy, hold up. No, I was going slow. I'm sorry. Next. Oh, I surprised him.
Kind of cliche, but it's probably the only chance I'll ever get to ask this. Tom, what's your favorite movie that you've worked on, whether as an actor, director, or special effects guy?
It's kind of hard to beat Dusk Till Dawn.
I was going to say the same thing. I was like, it's got to be that.
Simply because of who I got to hang out with, I mean, my job for 3 days was to watch Selma Hayek do that dance. Snake,
It's not a bad job.
This has nothing to do with this, but I just did 6 episodes of the Dusk Till Dawn TV series that starts up September 6th. I'm in episode 3 and then all the rest in the season. It's the best stuff I've ever done. I'm not Sex Machine. I'm this new character. Well, no, Jake.
already had a Sex Machine.
I already did that. Jake Busey is Sex Machine. So there's a competition between me and him, but I'm this ancient warrior that comes. I have a sword and a whip. It's really a swashbuckling thing.
What's funny, Tom, is whenever when I first met you and we got together on the project, and I was telling some friends and stuff that I know that aren't horror people, I was like, oh, and I've got Tom Savini working on this game. They're like, who? I'm like, Sultan of Splatter, Tom Savini. I don't know who that is. I'm like, did you see Dusk Till Dawn? They're like, yeah. I'm like, he was in that. And they're like, what? And I was like, he had the cock gun. Oh, that guy. Oh, that guy.
Yeah, we called it the crotch rocket.
And you guys keep that, right? You finally have it.
It took a year of begging, but they finally gave it to me.
He wears it around the house.
There were quite a few mentions on Twitter while I was watching Sex Machine.
Good.
I'm going to do the 3 guys with the hands up.
Time.
That'll be, we've got
Hurry up,
7
hustle.
minutes. Oh, me hustle.
Is there going to be other ways to win the game as a survivor besides killing Jason? And can I make a small request that the PC benchmark be the Death Alley AI with just Jason's just murdering everyone, and you just walk by, and
like
that's
a
how you
tutorial,
benchmark
right?
your system.
That's actually a really good idea.
It's funny.
sorry. Question was.
Is there other ways
Yeah,
to?
of course. You can call the cops. We have to find the phone, then call the cops and wait for them to get there, which takes a while because they're driving cars and they take a while to get to you. You can fix a car and a boat, which is also very difficult, and try to drive those out or get in them and escape. So there are multiple ways you can survive.
You just survive.
But nothing is as hard as killing Jason.
Exactly. So those are a lot more
trying
easy.
to survive and not get found by Jason for the potential 10 to 20 minutes if you're collecting car parts or if you're waiting for the cops to show up. That's still your best route. It's still not a good route.
I think there's going to be so many of you that are just going to let Jason kill you every possible way.
Just give up.
It's almost like getting insulted by Don Rickles. It's an honor.
Just kill me.
Yeah.
There just might be an achievement for that as well.
True. All right, Jason, anything?
No.
Nothing.
All right, next guy.
He's kind of stiff.
I was wondering about mechanics. If, let's say, this is my friend Alex that I met tonight, and Alex is standing in a doorway, and I'm standing behind him, kind of keeping him in the doorway, so Jason can kill him. Is there any way that Alex can turn around and elbow me, punch me, kick me, hit me, anything of that nature?
He could duck and Jason will kill you. I don't know.
I mean, there is a crouch. I mean, you can.
There is a crouch.
Theoretically, but
you could do that.
We didn't want to create these mechanics that basically kind of like fed troll behavior. It becomes like a delicate situation. Like I would love, like we had these discussions early on. Like I would love for if Jason comes walking up for me to like club Chuck's knees because I'm like I just got to run faster than him, right? Like that. I would love that, but when you give that feature, there's a lot of people that will then abuse it, and that creates a negative experience for people. That I mean, I would love it if just us, when I say us, I mean us, like the fan, the Friday 13th people that like, no, I want to really have a Friday 13th experience. Like, I would love to hand that kind of feature over and say, if you want to fucking screw your friend, do it. Like, that's, because that's part of it, right? I mean, that's kind of part of it, but I know there's too many people out there that's like, oh, well, that's how I'm just going to play. I'm just going to run around hitting people, right? And that breaks the immersion. That breaks.
It's a horror game after all, too. We need to keep that immersion there.
Although I've been with them in a couple of play sessions where 4 people have diligently scoured every cabin. They have all the parts for the truck. And as a result of starting up the truck, you are creating enough noise that you're going to alert Jason to where you are. And so the truck is starting up, and one guy jumps in and takes off, leaving the other 3 right there.
And you're like,
I thought it was pretty funny when Ronnie got stuck in a bear trap and he was so mad. So I set that bear trap right in front of the door for him again. Got him a second time.
you mean when I was Jason or a counselor?
No, when you're a counselor.
That was the best.
Yeah.
I was in the office watching
So
that.
now that cat's out of the bag. You can use bear traps in our game. That's fine. Oops. And other counselors can step in them. But he didn't warn me that he put a bear trap down. So I'm running from Jason and I get caught in his damn bear trap. Thanks.
Ronnie got so mad.
Yeah, I'm like, appreciate it. I'm like, how about a little heads up next time?
Right.
Well, if I was there, I would hide behind you.
Yeah.
Just for everyone's record keeping, I will never let Ronnie get in my car during the game. Yes. This is payback. Anyway, next question.
Can you use a dead counselor as a weapon?
What?
No.
Last one, guys.
We've thought of everything except maybe that. We'll take it under consideration.
All right. Okay.
Pick them up by their feet and swing them. Maybe the jock could do that.
Oh, do you mean could Jason use is that what you're saying?
I thought you meant the counselors. Hit Jason with a dead counselor.
No, I was thinking like you could like put a dead counselor on your shoulders, act like you're taller. You know, like at least on the West Coast, it's like, hey, if it's a bear, open up your jacket, you'll look bigger. And like that's what you do to Jason. It's like, I'm taller than you think.
Welcome to a standard design discussion among gun media.
Yeah.
All right. So I am about to ask have the last question. We have about 3 minutes left. So if you want, what? Okay, shut up. If you want a beta key, the enforcers have asked over at this door at the end here. See, gentleman waving. Please go over there. We're gonna have you guys get into a little bit of a line. Yay lines. But if you would do that, and I will be somewhere, they'll tell me where to go, and we will get you guys keys. So, well, okay, I guess go over it now.
There you go.
We got one more guy who wanted a question.
We got another question.
All right.
There's plenty of beta keys, guys.
There are. So, last question, and again, from Gun Media, and I'm sure they'll say this at the end too. Thank you so much, all of you. It really, it's 10 p.m. on a Friday night. You have all decided to show up, and holy crap, we love all of you. Last question.
Would you describe like the one kill that you never got in either like the movies or maybe in the game? Like you have this one kill that you really wanted to do, like in your eyes was perfect, but you couldn't get it
I know
in
one,
either. So-
but
No,
you
go
have
ahead,
one
no.
on film that maybe got cut along the way?
No, I'm pretty lucky.
You get to do what you want because you're Tom Savini.
Yeah.
Whatever
But
you say
what
goes.
have you got?
There was a sawhorse kill we had
Oh yeah.
where he would straddle you on the sawhorse and pull your legs
Apart.
And it'd be very painful in that area. But
well, every guy would feel that one, you know.
even girls will feel that.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
yeah.
but eventually, then we have sawhorses everywhere, and you're like, why are there so many damn sawhorses around this mat? Why are they making a Crystal Lake?
Right.
But then it was also Kane's height and being able, he would have to bend down on his knees and pull. The sawhorse would have to be this
So
tall.
now we're gonna have to just put a sawhorse somewhere in the, even though you can't do anything to it, just
Now
so
we
all
gotta
you
go
guys
see
walk by
that.
and go, I know what that.
But then you got to put parallel bars and all sorts of other
So
stuff.
little things like that people just never know that we liked, and this technically can't be done.
And I just want to say real quick too, if anyone in the room has purchased and downloaded the virtual cabin, thank you for doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And we appreciate you playing it and looking at it and enjoying it. It's IllFonic's work every single day. You know,
At night. I mean,
Chuck's team working on assets that go in the game, and we populate it in the virtual cabin. If you haven't seen it yet and you're a fan, it's literally like a Friday the 13th museum. Like you get to walk through. There isn't a single pixel in that wasn't a reference from the films.
Yeah.
And you should go look at. There are several YouTubers that make excellent videos that you can set and watch. That they pick every single thing in there and say, this is the rug from part 2. This is the lamp from part 3. This is the so on and so on and so forth. And
it's got some scares in there too, though. Some
there
cool
are
interactable things.
Some cool things and we're nearing the finish line with that too. Because literally, as we build the stuff, we're putting it into the cabin and updating it every 2 weeks with all those new things. So it's been sort of an interactive dev diary too. That's kind of an industry first. A lot of folks wouldn't do that. Wouldn't like as we're building it and tweaking it, just throwing it in there and letting you see it. So thank you for the time that those who have checked it out and played it, like, means a lot to us to know that you've done it, and even more so to see some of the fans that take the time, including Robert in the front row here, take the time to see what we're doing, and then make a video and, you know, calling out all the cool things that we have in there. So it means a lot. So thanks, guys.
Agreed.
Yeah, and real quick, if you don't have the virtual cabin, you can pick it up on f13game.com.
Yep.
PC only, by the way.
Sorry.
Consoles. I know. There's a whole lot of certification and stuff that has to happen. So PC only.
Sweet.
Yes, and there's no me support.
No
Like
me
a friend code?
No, it's a joke.
Okay. 80-digit friend code?
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, guys. Everyone on this panel. Thank you so much. Randy, Ronnie.
Thank you.